Hello everyone and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host as always, Shannon. Today we're going to be talking about a really fun topic that I think a lot of you are going to love. We're actually going to be talking about how to do K-pop makeup. So for those of you guys that are following this channel, I'm sure you guys love Korea, you also love Korean culture, and you've probably heard a little bit about K-pop. K-pop is more than just a unique style of music and dancing and rapping and artistry. It's also a very unique style as far as makeup and hair. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. I'll be giving you guys a couple different tips and tricks along the way to kind of enhance or change up your makeup style in a more K-pop way. So before we jump in, thank you guys as always for tuning in. I wanted to say hello to everyone in the comment section. Let's see, we have Nathan, we have Mark, we have Shay, and Renuka. Hi, welcome to the chat, you guys. If you guys have any questions or comments along the way, make sure to just drop it in the comment section down below. I will try my best to read the comments and try to stay on top of everything. So let me know if you guys have questions along the way. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you guys have been watching the previous episodes, you've probably learned that base skincare is going to be kind of the foundation for makeup. So I did want to share with you guys one particular product here. This is actually a spray cream. This would be a nice substitute for something to cool off the skin, to also tighten up the pores and act as a really nice moisturizing base. This is super important, you guys. The reason that moisture is really important for the basis of foundation is that you can avoid that cakiness, kind of that dry sort of flakiness where you start to see the textures and the powders in sunlight. So if you're a K-pop idol and you're on stage and you're going to be under tons of bright lighting, of course this is super important. So definitely make sure that you guys have a really nicely cream sort of dewy base underneath. This will help your makeup stick, but it'll also help it to look a little bit more skin-like and natural as well. So skincare is a really good way to start. I would definitely say bring some toner pads. Anytime I've ever been on a set in Korea, whether it was for a drama or for a commercial or even just for fun, if you go and get your makeup done in Korea for a K-pop idol style, it will always be including the toner pads. So toner pads, a mist, or a cream is a great way to start off. Let's see. Ooh, I like the shirt. Thank you so much. Hello, Mr. Harper, and hello, Nathan. All right, so we've got some #1 commenters in the chat today. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, just drop it down below. So once we get a nice foundation going, typically what I would do that I'm sure is a little bit different is actually apply a primer. So we don't have an example of a primer today, but you guys have seen in previous episodes where I brought my favorite one. This is a green one that helps to color correct. If you guys don't have anything like that, the first thing you're going to move on to is a concealer. This should be no surprise to all of you guys. Concealers are exactly what they say they are. They're going to help you to conceal certain areas. We're going to figure out a way to do this today that helps to shape the face. This is also known as reverse contouring. So for example, something in Korea that's a little bit different is they don't tend to prioritize heavy contour on the cheeks. They might do a little bit on the edges of the face to make the face look a little bit smaller. But in this sense, what we're going to do is use it to highlight our features that we want to portray. There's a couple key things when it comes to K-pop makeup that are super highlighted, and one is the eyes. So we're going to be figuring out a way to use our concealer to help brighten and open up our eyes a little bit. So I do already have a little bit of base makeup on, just to be completely real with you guys. I knew I was going to be coming on camera today, and I don't know if you guys heard the meow, but we have some cute little furry friends in the studio today. So if they come up and join the chat at any point in time, just say hello. Anyway, so for the concealer, some things that you're... Oh, hi! You want some concealer? I think maybe not. So anyway, what we're going to do is start kind of right here by the under eye area. Like I said, I do already have a little bit on, so I'm going to be using it more to spot and color correct rather than to conceal. So one thing you also want to do is you also want to help to highlight certain areas of the face. Let's see, do I have any more spots? I think there's one right there. Okay, we'll do right here around the nose. So right now you can see it's not a lot. A little bit of concealer goes a long way. Typically I would use a pat for this or some sort of like puff. Even if you're using like a sort of cushion type, this will work as well. All right, I guess we're just gonna hang out here. This is so cute. But today we're actually just gonna be using our fingers. So one thing I really liked about using my fingers with concealer is it does help to blend really gently, kind of skin-like. So we're just gonna lightly sort of tap that in. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's just a couple little dots on my face. So we're just gonna start like this, kind of trying to dial down some of the redness and help to even out my skin tone and texture. Concealer is a great way to do that. And concealer, you guys, is definitely very buildable, so you guys can absolutely work with this as you need to. Try to find concealer types that are really good match with your skin. I think I mentioned this last week as well. Concealer color is really important. You don't want the concealer to be a perfect match with your skin tone. You can see that mine is a little bit lighter, and that's actually intentional. What we want to do is use the lighter tones to help highlight. So this is going to be areas that you're going to want to highlight the most. This is why you would not put concealer down on the chin, for example, unless you want to really bring out that bone structure. We're going to use it in the center of my face to try and minimize any sort of shadows there. This will help to keep everything in the center. Okay, so we're just going to dab that in. I'm a little bit sweaty today, you guys, just totally honest. It's super hot in Korea right now. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to try to read some comments. That's funny. Because I work at a place everyone just calls the cat, it's Caterpillar. I have a cat allergy. Oh no! It is a good thing that cat allergies do not transfer through, the screen, because then we'd have a little bit of a problem. All right, so once you have a little bit of a concealer base going, like I said, this isn't meant to be like super heavy. A lot of times with Korean makeup as well as K-pop makeup, you'll notice that they build the foundation from really light up to a little bit heavier. This is because we're going to be applying a couple different layers on the skin kind of as we go. So we want to start off with something thin. I think that's a big mistake that you make in makeup often, is if you're using a really heavy foundation to begin with, it's actually going to look a little bit more cakey, and we don't want that. Especially when it's really hot, if you guys are moving around or if you're dancing like a K-pop idol, you definitely don't want to start sweating through your makeup and end up looking cakey. So I think that's about it. Very good. So next we're going to be moving on to the blush. I actually brought a liquid blush, but one thing that is a staple in K-pop makeup as well is maybe avoiding powder type blushes. The reason for this is because your typical idol is going to look super dewy and like glossy and almost like photoshopped. The reason for that is because they're using a minimal amount of powder types. They're not trying to mattify the skin as much as they're trying to make it look more like skin. So I'm just going to be using a little bit of my liquid blush here. I'm just going to rub it in between my fingers. Like I said, guys, I would typically use a puff or something for this, or a beauty blender even. But in this case, I'm actually just going to be using my fingers just for simplicity. So now I want to show you guys how to highlight the center of the face using your blush. So typically idols are going to go kind of right around the center of the cheeks here. This is to give you a little bit more of a youthful appearance. I've talked about this before. But when it comes to blush, you can think of blush almost like a contour sort of situation. It's going to draw attention to certain parts of the face. In this case, we want to look a little bit sun-kissed. You want to look a little bit like fresh, almost like a child that's been out in the sun. This is going to help you to look a little bit more youthful. So just to give you kind of a side-by-side comparison, you can kind of see right there. There's a little bit of a difference. It makes me look a little bit more young. Not that I'm like super old or anything, but you know what I mean. Don't eat the skincare cat. Yeah, please don't. This is how they glow on stage. Exactly. I need that eyeliner tutorial. We're going to be talking about eyeliner next, actually, so I'll bring that one up in just a second. So I said before that I like to blend my makeup with my hands because it feels a little bit more skin-like. It also allows me to be a little bit more precise than a heavy blush or brush. Hello. Cheekbone contour is insane. Let's see, who else paused to take notes? Oh, Kelly, welcome to the chat. Christine, welcome to the chat. Sarah Fernandez, sorry, lip combo equals perfection. All right, I think we're about done. So just a little bit of light blush. I might actually add a little bit later just to kind of enhance some of the color because it might blur down a little bit as we get going. Next up, we're going to be using a eyeliner. So this one I actually introduced to you guys last week on last week's episode. I immediately put this in my purse after the episode ended, and we're going to be using it again today. For this one, like I said, just to kind of show you, because I don't know if you guys can see that, typically I would recommend using a liquid liner for this, but this particular product that I introduced to you guys is waterproof. This would be, of course, a really important thing to have during a performance or something like that so that it doesn't smudge or move around. After I put this on my hand last week, I think it stayed for like 2 days after. So make sure that you guys are prepared to use a waterproof product. We are going to be using this today. I'm actually going to take a smaller mirror for this one so I can be a little bit more precise. So now when we're talking about eyeliner for K-pop idols, this is not going to be like the Amy Winehouse like thick eyeliner. We want to go with something a little bit more discreet, but one thing we do want to highlight is the size of our eyes. So the way to do that, because when you're using a black or a dark brown sort of color, typically it's going to minimize the appearance of things. This is going to make it look a little bit smaller. So what we're going to do, we're going to take just a little bit, I'm going to roll it out. Okay, just a little bit, and I do have mascara on, so I'm going to try to dodge my eyelashes. We're going to put it on the outer corner of the eye. The reason for this is so that it widens the center portion of the face and it brings a little bit more attention to the, I can't think and talk and do at the same time, and brings a little bit more attention to the lash line, which we will do in a little bit as well. So right there, just a little bit. Okay, I'm also going to go ahead and line the waterline as well. Let's just see. This is so interesting. I don't think I've ever actually done my makeup on camera before. I'm going to bring it out just a little bit to give it a little bit of drama and create a little bit of a wing here. If you guys have ever done any sort of eyeliner before, you know that Q-tips are probably a lifesaver in this situation. But we'll fix it a little bit later. Right, okay, so you can see a little bit of a difference there. One of my eyes looks a little bit more like contrasted, a little bit more open than the other. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's do the other side. We want to make sure we're even. I wish I had like my full vanity because I want to use the big mirror, but I feel like it's not going to work. Let's just go ahead and give it a go. Let's try. Like I said, guys, I do have mascara on, but typically you would not be wearing makeup before this, and this would make your life a lot easier. I'm having to kind of weave through my mascara. Let's just see. What are you thinking? This is Simba, by the way. You guys can say hi to Simba while I'm doing this. See, now I feel like this side looks better. This is the forever conundrum that women have for putting on the eyeliner and guys. Okay, I think that's about as even as that's going to get for this part. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay, so for now, that'll be all for the eyeliner. So you guys can see it does kind of darken my eyeline a little bit. We're just going to do my waterline. Okay, so now that we've done some eyeliner, I want to move things right along. Next up, we would be doing mascara. Of course, I do have mascara on at the moment. But one thing that I think is really unique about the way that K-pop idols do their eyes, they actually use like a little, how do I explain this? They use like a little wooden stick and they light it with a lighter. So they burn it to kind of heat it up a little bit. Then they place it behind the lashes and use a different stick to push them up and curl it. I was completely shook the first time I saw this because they put the hot stick near my eye and I was like, what is going on? But it actually works really well. It's the same kind of idea, I suppose, as curling your hair or straightening your hair. It's supposed to hold it in place a little bit longer. So if you're a K-pop idol and you have like fake lashes on, or if you have typically very straight lashes, something that's heated is actually going to maintain that curl a little bit better. So I don't have a lash curler today, and I actually don't really use one often. I have very naturally long curly lashes. So we will skip that for now. But next up, what I do want to do is actually talk about the aegyo. This is one of the most prominent sort of points about Korean K-pop makeup. This is where you're exaggerating that little fat pad underneath the eyes. So you have to be really careful with this because it's very easy to go overboard and to make it look like a whole different line underneath your eye, which we don't want to do. But what we do want to do is sort of open it up a little bit and then kind of exaggerate that childlike appearance as well. So I'm going to go in for this. Admittedly, guys, I don't do this often, but it is important to use sort of like muted shades for this. You don't want it to look obviously like a line. So we don't want to use something like this that's really dark. You don't want to make one straight line. You kind of have to make it a shadow. But this one, you have to trust your body's natural sort of line here. So we are just going to follow sort of my natural line. So we're just going to, right like this. We don't want it to be too dark, so I will blend this out. Okay, so we're going to go like this. And I will blend it, don't worry. Okay, I'm also going to take a little bit and put under my lash line here. Makeup is so fun. What do you think, Simba? What are you thinking so far? All right, so let's just blur it a little bit. Okay, so like I said, I am by no means an expert on this part of things, but we're gonna just blend this out. I want it to look as natural as possible. So just a little bit more like dark than my typical one. I actually have really large fat pads, I'm kind of realizing now. So we'll just do a little bit here. Kind of a light little 애교살. And again, I actually want to draw a little line right underneath my lash line here as well. We're going to be kind of exaggerating that under eye look. I can see you guys messaging in the comment section. I'm sorry I'm not able to look. I feel like I'm going to stab my eye if I do that. Okay. All right, so one thing I want to add actually to this to make it look a little bit more dramatic rather than like I got dark under eye circles and didn't sleep, I'm actually going to add a little bit of glitter. This will help. Okay, so let's just extend that eye line on both sides. Okay, we want to clean that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now that we did that, another thing that we're going to be using is one of these Korean palettes. So I'll show you guys that here. This one has a little glitter shade that I'm kind of obsessed with right here in the middle. I'll go ahead and swatch that for you guys. So let's just take a look here. Oh, that is phenomenal. Look at that. It looks like moon dust. That is fantastic. So we definitely are going to use that. I'm just going to go ahead and use my, do I have another brush? I don't think so. We're going to use my pinky. Just going to trust the process. I'm just going to trust myself on this one. Okay, so I have a little bit of glitter here. I want to take just a smidge and put it right underneath that eye area. Oh yeah, that's giving K-pop. You want to use just a little bit. Okay, use a brush for this, guys. Don't use your fingers. But if we had to, it would bring just a little bit of light underneath the eye here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my actual eyeshadow brush and I'm going to start to work on my eyes. Okay, so I'm just blending two different shades. I'm going to, oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt? The cat turned and looked at me. I'm so sorry. Please go back to what you were doing. So I'm just blending two different shades here. They're both kind of like a light brown color, but we're going to use that in my outer corner here. So just kind of right around. One thing that I've noticed that Koreans do a little bit more lightly is definitely eyeshadow. So we're not going to go quite as heavy with the dark color or the contrast here. Oh, you're watching. Okay. The cat is so entertaining. So we're just going to do a little bit of a contrast on the inner corner here, but we don't want to make it too harsh because we're trying to, again, exaggerate natural features. We want it to look light enough where it looks somewhat not overdone, but we do, of course, want it to look good on stage. So I'm going to try to highlight this sort of area here. There's a bit of a shadow underneath my brow bone. Okay, so we're just going to go like this. And you can see I'm going in little circular motions like this, not side to side. You don't want to drag it in a harsh line. Harsh lines are your worst enemy when it comes to makeup. Okay, so just a light little crease. Right, okay, so you can see right away that this sort of opens up this area and makes my eye look a little bit more open. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I don't want to interrupt him. I feel like I've been chosen. It's like the, what do they call it? Like the cat distribution program or something? The makeup screams K-pop. Thank you. Can we get a male idol version next? Okay, if you guys want to see a male idol version next, I will have to ask Jay if he's willing to come back on and let me do K-pop makeup. My eyes look like they're glowing. Thank you. The blush placement is everything. I think I will add a little bit more blush because it is summertime. Are you going to leave me? No. You're going to stand and watch? I think they're waiting for me to do his makeup. All right, so again, guys, we're going to go in like little tiny circles here. We're just going to try to exaggerate those shadows a little bit and play around. You can definitely try. I think with Koreans, they use a little bit more pinky tones, especially in the winter. And then for in the summertime, it tends to be a little bit more brown. I feel like I could go heavier with that. You want some glitter? No? I don't want to put it on your nose. You're so cute. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of glitter in the center here. My eyelashes are getting in the way. There we go. Okay. So center towards the outside. I'll show you guys what we're going to do on the inner corner in just a second here. Now with the glitter type shades, you actually don't want to go in a circle because it will get in your eye. Try to focus more on like patting and smearing just a touch. I think I need a little bit more on this side. What do you think? Does it look even? I love this cat. Can I take him home? Okay. Oh, I just rubbed glitter all over my head. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can fix that. No, glitter is unforgiving. Ignore this. Ignore this eye right here. But anyway, next we're going to take a little bit of a brighter shade. So I'm going to try to use a finger that doesn't have glitter all over it. We'll use this one. Okay, and we're going to put it right here in the corner. Just a little bit. This is for the purpose of actually opening up the eye and making it a little bit brighter. If you guys want to as well, you can also take a little bit of this shadow and put it underneath the aegyo line before you start. This will actually help make it look a little bit brighter. All right, I'm happy with that. I do feel like I can go a little bit darker though. Let's get wild. Let's do a slightly darker brown. So we're gonna bring that like V shape here. We're gonna bring it in towards the center just a little bit and then move it out. Okay, so this, there we go, that looks a little bit better. Okay, and then let's blend out that aegyo. I have a little bit of a line right here. Sorry about that, guys. I should have been more prepared with my, hi. I should have been more prepared with my brushes and stuff before I came. Let's see, do this side as well. Right, okay, I think that's good for now. Next, we're gonna move on. This is gonna be one of the more fun parts, I think. We're gonna be talking a little bit about lip tint. What do you have to say about it? Right, okay. No? So lip tint, you guys, this is what is gonna be used to help keep that long-lasting lip color. A lot of times K-pop idols will follow this up with some sort of like gloss to give them that very sort of wet look on stage. But underneath, you can almost always guarantee it's going to be a tint rather than like a cream type of liquid. Oh, this is gorgeous. I love this packaging. And then similar to the blush, we're actually going to use a little bit more of a warm tone today. So we did discover through my color analysis that I'm a spring light, I think is what they said, which is why I've been trying to get more experimental with clothes and not just wear all black, but I'm also trying to adapt that to my makeup as well. So we're going to be using slightly warmer tones like this, like the blush, for example, and then for the lips as well. So this is a tint. I must say you have to be very sparing with these because they can get really dark really fast. One thing that idols do, they focus on the center points of the lips here, and sometimes they'll even bring it a little bit up. So I'm just going to start right here. Okay. Okay, so right away, it's not quite as pigmented as like a traditional cream would be, but that's good, that's what we want. Okay, if you look closely also, I'm lining the inside of the lip rather than the outside. The purpose of this is not to overline the lips. We're not trying to make our lips look super full. We want them to look really supple and dewy. So we actually want to highlight the inner portion right here. Okay. And then just gently kind of mash together. There you go. So it should be slightly darker on the inner corner there. All right, and then for this last one, we're actually gonna try to experiment with lashes. We don't have a lot of time, so I don't know how much of this I'll be able to do, but I do at least wanna show you guys how it works just because it's fun. Simba is interested in what I'm doing. You think so? You like it? I don't think you need lashes. I think you are fabulous, exactly the way that you are. So I don't think Simba needs any. I can't believe how easy she made it look. I'm obsessed with that lip stain. How to make like a whole music video. Can someone do this on me? I would be happy to. I also love Shannon's hairstyle today. It suits her makeup style perfectly. The subtle glitter is everything. Thank you guys. All right, so in all honesty, I really do need kind of like a tweezer attachment for this, and I thought there would be one in here. But because there's not, I will just kind of show you what an individual strip lash looks like. Okay, so when I take it off, I'll just kind of hold it on my hand here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's one little tiny strip of hair. What I would typically do with this, because I, like I said, already have really long lashes, what I would want to do is just put a couple of them on the outer corner here. We're not trying to use a full strip lash, and that's intentional as well, because a full strip lash might make the eyes look a bit stodgy, a bit heavy. Our purpose here is to make the eyes look a little bit more full and a little bit more thick. So with this one, for example, like I said, don't have tweezers. You guys might have to stick with me with this, but we will definitely give it a try. I'm just going to try to use a little bit of this lash glue. This is actually a black lash adhesive, so this one is going to be a little bit lighter. So you can see that little bit of black cream there. If I just use this one. Also, don't have nails on when you're doing this, guys. I have long nails. Okay, and it just kind of sticks and sits up like that, right? So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. To do this on the eyes, I would require tweezers. I'm not gonna do it at the moment because I don't frankly have enough time, and Simba's losing interest. So anyway, I feel like for the most part, this pretty much completes the look. I think some things that I would actually maybe bring a little bit of the blush onto the nose. We can also maybe do a little bit of contour. So I'll show you guys just one little trick that I typically do. So this is just my personal palette. What we want to do with contour is you don't want to use something super gray. This will make your skin look a little bit, you know, kind of lifeless, but you can contour little things like this. So when I'm looking at my face, I do see some slight shadows here. Okay, so we want to go right around the corner of my nose here, and then on the top right there. Okay, it looks really crazy right now, but I promise it'll work. Okay, and then we're just going to use, that has glitter on it also. So my nose might get glitter, but let's just see. So just use it and kind of rub it in just a touch. This will sort of exaggerate that button nose quality as well. Yep, and there you go. All done. So this is a very quick and easy way to just use certain little tips to try to change your makeup style. The purpose of this is to make your eyes look a little bit bigger, to make your face look a little bit fresher, to add a little bit of pop to your makeup look from K-pop inspired makeup tips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. These are red carpet visuals. Thank you. I love the soft glam style. Her brows are sharp and perfect. Oh, I forgot to mention the brows. I did actually my brows today a little bit more K-pop style as well, which tends to be a little bit thinner and lighter. Also, K-pop brows tend to have a little bit more of a straight shape. We want to avoid super heavy looking brows. We want to keep it light. We want to keep it feminine. So nice touch. Thank you for reminding me before we signed off today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. For me, it went by super fast, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Simba, I hope you enjoyed it as well. And I love you guys so much. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting me. And we will see you next week for another episode at 6 p.m. Bye, guys. I love you. Mwah.